Imagine standing in front of a room of venture capitalists. You're pitching a molecule that's biologically perfect, except for one tiny flaw. The human body destroys it in 4 minutes, and that is the exact garbage hand that Danish pharma giant Novo Nordisk was dealt in the 1990s. Now, if you want to understand how a failed diabetes drug becomes a trillion-dollar cultural eclipse, you don't have to look at a scientist. You don't have to look at a regulator. You don't have to look at a room of sharks in suits. You want to look at all of them together. The scientist is Lotte Bjerre Knudsen. In the 1990s, she was obsessed with GLP-1, a gut hormone that tells your brain to stop eating. What's the problem? Natural GLP-1 dissolves instantly. Knudsen didn't give up. She engineered a magnificent hack. Her team attached a fatty acid anchor to the molecule, and this allowed it to hitch a ride on blood proteins and hide from the body's destructive enzymes. Boom! A 4-minute molecule now lasts a full week. But a scientific miracle is just an expensive hobby without a business story. Enter Novo Nordisk executive suite. In the 2010s, they were staring down a brutal, crowded market for type 2 diabetes. They didn't just want a drug that lowered blood sugar. They wanted a premium, high-margin blockbuster. They funded massive clinical trials, the SUSTAIN trials. They kept their eyes on a specific, undeniable side effect. Patients were shedding weight like crazy. And this is where the government story hits the brakes. The FDA in 2017 was notoriously terrified of weight loss drugs thanks to Fen-Phen, which actually causes heart damage disasters in the 1990s. Now, Novo Nordisk pitched this as a vanity diet pill. Regulators would have buried it in a decade of safety reviews. Now, here's where the business and regulatory team pulled a classic judo move. They framed Ozempic strictly as a cardiovascular savior for diabetes. They proved that it reduced strokes and heart attacks. The FDA panel was cornered by the data and voted 16-0 for approval. Novo Nordisk got their FDA approval for diabetes, but their true genius was what happened after.
Enjoying our content? We'd love to hear more. Please like, comment, share, and find more.
Everyone decided to prescribe it off-label. In the US, the Food, Drugs, and Cosmetics Act says it's illegal for a pharma company to market a drug for an unapproved use. Well, there's some limits to that, but generally speaking. But it is 100% legal for a doctor to prescribe it for whatever they want. That's the practice of medicine. Novo Nordisk's legal team built a bulletproof compliance wall. They did not market Ozempic for weight loss. They just let the Whisper network do the work. Now, is this their fault? Maybe, or maybe not. Tech billionaires, TikTok influencers, and the Hollywood elite start demanding this off-label use. This is where the compounding pharmacies came in. When the market exploded, Novo's legal and executive teams were already 3 steps ahead. They took the exact same molecule, they bumped up the dosage, and patented a whole new delivery pen. And then they got a second, separate FDA approval for obesity under the brand name Wegovy. Now, by layering an aggressive patent thicket around the physical injector pens, their legal team locked out legal competitors until the late 2030s. This is where the compounding pharmacies came in. Now, it is a masterclass around how science builds the engine, business funds the track, the government sets the boundaries, and the lawyers drive the train straight into a billion-dollar gold mine. But one might argue, this is also where drug costs go through the roof. I'm not seeing Ozempic going away. I expect that we're going to see generic Ozempic very quickly, and compounding pharmacies are going to make sure that they keep making that product as we continue. Having said that, stay tuned for what happens next. Call, click, or email